Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. Malkovich. We've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Don't stand in my way of my actualization as a man.
And we've got Cameron Mickle.
Can you understand anything I'm saying with my speech impediment?
I don't understand a word you're saying.
You don't have to be nice, you know.
You flatter me.
And we've got Nick.
What's up? You were stoned. Case closed. End of story.
Dude, Charlie Sheen is in this movie.
Charlie Sheen. Wait a minute. We're going to get back to Charlie
was...
Sheen. Okay?
Yes. He is a character.
Yes.
He is a character.
As little part he plays, very vital.
And a truth teller or a future teller.
He reminded me of his character in 2.5 Men. Isn't that kind of who he plays, Ty?
He literally reminds me of Charlie Sheen like 8 years later, where he showed his true colors.
This was beginning of Charlie,
like,
99.
Yes.
Charlie in the making.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. The tiger blood guy that we all know. So
And love.
By winning. And love, yep. And love. Love's a strong word. I don't know if I love Charlie Sheen.
I still love him.
But,
even though he's got the AIDS, he's still all right in my book.
All right, so
I
let's
wouldn't
get
hug
into
him,
it.
but,
Today,
you know.
Hey, that's STD shaming, all right? Yeah. What are you, ableist?
I don't know. I'm just scared, you know. It's not that I'm shaming. I'm scared of it all.
You're a germaphobe, yeah.
No.
Don't worry, Nick. We won't judge you here. So today we are discussing Being John Malkovich. This movie came out in 1999. It was directed by Spike Jonze, and it was written by Charlie Kaufman, and it stars John Cusack, Cameron Diaz, Catherine Keener, or if I'm saying that right, Keener, I think, Eric Weinstein, Ned Bellamy, Mary Kay Place, Octavia Spencer, Madison Lake, and I already said that, KK Dodds, and Byrne Piven. Of course, John Malkovich. Can't forget John Malkovich. He's everywhere in this movie. All right, so let's get into it. What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Jordan.
I'm trying to even remember the first time I saw this. I feel like I just saw it at such a strange time, and I just was watching all sorts of famous movies because I was like, after watching like Donnie Darko and all these things, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these hidden, like I need to find all the movies with great reviews back in the day. And so I watched this and I'm just like, it was all right. And then but rewatching all the Charlie Kaufman movies with my roommate, that's when I grew to have a real appreciation for it. And because there's just something about his writing that's so intriguing.
I'm pretty sure you nailed it on the first one with the, it's all right.
No. I love it now. And it reminds me a lot, and I'm not saying it's at all comparable to this movie, but I feel like it has a very strong first act. And then the last act, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It just has an interesting ending, to say the least. It kind of reminds me of, what's the movie, Cameron? You said the first act is amazing, and then the ending's like, meh. Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, I was crying in the first freaking, 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, because this movie has so many characters in the beginning. It's just so funny. And I just feel like there's so many parts that have me laughing. And by the end, I'm just kind of like...
speech she is.
Yes, she is hilarious. I just... so many characters. Anyways, I'm talking too much. What I've got.
All right, so I'll go next. I've only seen this movie once. I just watched it. I finished it last night, and I remember thinking, wow, I am interested to see more of Charlie Kaufman's films. I really like this one. I'm surprised this came out in 1999.
You watch the adaptation, you're like, maybe I don't want to watch more.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I really do like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I really like Being John Malkovich, but somehow adaptation failed to grip me in a lot of ways, but I'm sure if I understood it, I am blown away that these are like 1999 and adaptation, which was 2002. That blows me away. That like right after making Being John Malkovich, he went and made adaptation. It's like, which is surprising because again, I'm thinking of the 90s. I don't think a lot of people were interested in the subconscious except a bunch of art, film nerds. Like especially not portrayed in movies. Like I'm sure there were philosophers that like to talk about this stuff and theorize about possible interpretations of the universe. But like this blew me away. I was like, I can't believe this is a 1999
Yeah.
film, because there was a lot of things in it. I'm like, it seems like a sketch out of Rick and Morty, or
Yes.
you know, something out of.
Well, and this is
don't
what
know,
I was
like,
saying, Cameron. Does this remind you a
The
little bit of a
Possessor.
Black Mirror episode? Did you finish all the seasons
Yeah,
yet?
Black Mirror.
No, but yeah.
Oh,
there's-
because there's an episode, Cameron, that's exactly like this, and it's like Get Out, where there's like trapped inside somebody's
Yeah, Get Out.
subconscious.
See, yeah, this movie was reminiscent of like Get Out for me, and watching, and I'm like, I don't think you have movies like Get Out and Black Mirror without movies like this that were proved to be really reflexive and kind of studying what it is to, you know, what does it be to be material and to be actualized. If you're just an amalgamation of all your life's experiences, are you actually living? Like, are you the summation of all the life experiences that you've had, or is your subconscious something else entirely? Like, what is your mind versus your actual physical body? And it's really weird questions that were posed. So I was delightfully fascinated by this movie, and I was perplexed by it, but I was very intrigued going into it. I was like, what an interesting quirk. Like, there were so many visual things that I liked about it. So I'm very interested to get into it. So that's what it was like watching it for the first time. So once in a lifetime moving experience, and I'm incredibly amazed that this movie has not been spoiled for me. So
That's shocking to me, Ty. I actually thought you would like adaptation better. That's just amazing to me. It's interesting.
no, I really like being John Malkovich. So Nick, what about you? You're watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast.
Well, man, whatever you said, that was deep. However, the first time I watched it, I thought it was quite odd, and it almost lost me a couple times, to be honest with you.
What? You couldn't follow this
Well,
simple
I was following
story?
it. The visuals were great. I was just very confused by it because, like,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
like I was trying to understand Cusack's character, and I'm just like, he's bouncing around. He's a puppeteer. He's odd, but then like all of his interactions with most of the people, other than Maxine, he seems pretty normal, and it just keeps. And then he goes totally nuts. I'm just like, what is happening here? You know, and why are they so obsessed with this Maxine chick? You know, and then watching it for the second time, I really kind of sat back and then I started to feel like maybe it's a good movie, kind of, you know, and kept going through it. And then it started to fascinate me a little bit as I kind of, you know, thought more about it. And sure, Maxine's cool. And I could see why they were, you know, all nuts about her. And this three-way love triangle between them, that was compelling, you know. So I liked it the second time, yeah. I liked the second time. First time just, yeah.
All right. So, Cameron, what about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
I asked Jordan before if Nick Cage was in this movie, but I couldn't remember if he said that we're doing one Nick Cage and one not Nick Cage. So I couldn't remember which one was which, and I hadn't watched Adaptation yet. So the entire movie, I'm just waiting for Nick Cage to just pop out some random time. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is about to be the weirdest movie ever if Nick Cage comes in. So Nick Cage didn't come in, but I was just as weirded out as if Nick Cage were to come in. Yeah, no, I loved, like, the first, 40 minutes, I was like, dude, this is really funny.
Yes,
But
so funny.
Yeah, as soon as it started going into his head, you kind of lost me. I mean, like, intellectually, I thought it was, like, interesting kind of exploring that, but it was disturbing, man.
Yes, it was when they opened up that book, Cameron. I was like, "This is dark." You can get trapped inside of a baby's
midnight.
mind.
We can get inside. We're gonna enter in John Malkovich at exactly midnight.
Yeah. It's like, otherwise you'll be trapped in his subconscious forever. And I'm like, what the fudge? Of a baby. I'm like, type of demonic crap are y'all believing? It's literally a cult. Like, and then I was not following like the timeline. I was just kind of lost. And then just like, I love how everyone was just totally fine after like a 15-foot drop out of space. And like, why did they just come out of space just right there? There's so many weird shiz. I was just
Right by the New Jersey Turnpike, Cameron.
so lost.
You don't know where portals drop you out, Cameron.
They take you to New Jersey.
Yeah, I think Prestige was even more scientific than this. What the fuck?
Well, hey, no, but think about Prestige. Remember, it's like, where would he just appear out of? We couldn't figure that out either, you know.
Yeah, but it had more logic to it than fetching just falling out of the sky and sliding, and then a gust of wind blowing you down this mud hole. You're like, oh, and then you go into somebody's eyes for 15 minutes.
All right. So I love it. So real quick, we're going to get into, let's give a plot synopsis because we didn't give it for adaptation, but we kind of explained it through what we were saying. But the movie is a puppeteer discovers a portal that leads literally into the head of a movie star, John Malkovich.
Yes. And how about using his real name? That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Dude, bless his heart.
You're that actor.
That's what I was to say. The movie star that nobody could figure out what movie he was in.
John,
You're
what's
in
his
that.
name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were in
played
that jewel thief.
retard. You were the jewel thief.
No, I never played that.
Hey,
Or
you
the
played
guy,
a
or the
retard.
guy in the
Thank you.
restaurant.
Hey.
I was like,
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you played a retard. My cousin's a retard.
and he's so
Thank
graceful.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. He's just,
Did you just roll with those punches? You just-
So great. It's so funny.
You did a great
Oh
job
my
as a
gosh.
retard. He's just like, thank you so
So-
much. That means the world.
So,
that part was hilarious. I have to give it that. That was
so funny. Oh yeah, it's laugh out loud funny. And again, I mean the whole conversation that John Cusack has with it's not Lottie. What's her name? The coworker. What's her name? I can't remember. Maxine, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maxine. He's like, I found a portal behind a filing cabinet that takes you into John Malkovich. Like, it makes no sense when he's describing it, but I've seen that scene and it made me laugh. But when you watch the movie, it's like, I honestly didn't know it was literally going to be, like, I thought he was trying to explain it, but in the movie, that's literally what happens. Like, nothing could have prepared me for this movie. Somehow I've never had this movie spoiled for me. Like, I don't think you can spoil this movie, other than explaining that,
What's
like,
there to
eventually John
spoil?
Malkovich does go into his own mind. That's the only spoiler that I wish.
The spoiler about
Yeah,
the
exactly.
origin of the
It's
seventh and a
so
half floor,
bonkers.
like platform
Yeah.
9 3/4. What the fudge?
that's just
explanation
another
video
thing that
made
makes
me
this-
so uncomfortable.
That's just another thing that makes this movie so great.
Yeah,
just
the
that part
visuals.
right there. The 7.5 floor. Yeah.
It was so funny, and it's like, hey, we have low overhead costs
Yeah.
or something.
I love when
It's
he's in the
like so
elevator for the
tongue-in-cheek,
first
like-
time looking for the numbers, 7, 8, and that woman
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gets on. She's like, I'll walk you through it.
First
You live-
time? Yeah.
You
Yeah,
gotta
and then she just wedges this giant crowbar
Yeah.
between the elevator doors. Like, what? I love the story, the backstory. It reminded me of Get Out when they had the
yes.
creepy backstory. And he goes, "This old man." He goes, "Oh, I like this midget abomination." He's like, "I'm gonna
Be gone
I'm
with
gonna
you,
make
foul
this-
demon.
He's like, "You freak of nature abomination! I'll make a very small building for you or something."
Yeah, I'll make a
making my
floor in my
life.
building just for you, so a
floor
place that all
just
your
for-
people can be.
And later, no small people are working there. It's just a bunch of people crouched over,
people who are
crouched
like,
over.
So dumb.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Dude, how old are you? 109. A lot of carrot juice. In fact,
Yeah,
I'm so sick of this stuff. I piss orange. This movie's so weird, guys. So let's go around say two of our favorite things from this movie. Let's start with you, Cameron.
Number one is definitely any scene inside the office, just on the 7.5 floor. Like, especially with that secretary dude. When she messes
Oh
up
my
his
gosh,
name,
dude.
and then he's like,
Pablo or whatever. No, it's Schwartz. It's Craig Schwartz.
Schwartz?
Yeah. I don't,
Schwartz?
Schwartz? What are you
Yeah, and
saying
then-
to
and then
me?
he-
I literally don't understand what you're saying to me.
I love it when he's like trying to explain
my
it too.
gosh.
He's like, I don't have any time for what did you say?
Babbling
I need to-
I don't
interviewers.
have time to talk over with interviewers into this office.
Yeah, I'm like, what the F is happening?
And then when he goes to meet with the boss and he's like, my name is Schwartz. And the guy's
Security?
like, security.
Security.
There's been some mix-up, no, with you.
No. I tried to explain that you're secretary. Whoa, are you making passes at my secretary? No,
No,
I
I'm
wouldn't
not,
make
by
passes.
the way. It's like,
Yeah, but he wants to.
yeah, what the fudge?
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
he's very descriptive about that. That's for sure. That's the whole reason he wants to be young. So
get
he
with
can
the
feel her
secretary,
next to
dude.
him. That's how he described it,
Oh
but in
my
much
gosh.
more detail.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, freaking creepy.
Oh, Cameron, what's your second favorite thing?
Just, why is there a monkey in this movie, dude? And why did it have like PTSD? And, like, had a character arc.
Because
to
he was
where it
attacked. Of course, he had
His
PTSD.
parents
That poor
died
monkey.
because he couldn't release them. That was like his character arc was him being able to release her.
That was his whole purpose of being there, to release her from this band.
That was
I was like,
so
what
funny.
am I
Yes.
watching?
Hey, you don't know how lucky you are to be a monkey. Because consciousness is a terrible thing. I think, I feel, I suffer, and all answers return is an opportunity to do my work, and they won't allow it because I raise issues. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
John Cusack was a revelation in this movie, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Oh my word.
Dude,
oh, Cameron, I love it. Why was there
He
a
might have
monkey?
needed psychological help after this fetching movie. After
He might
playing
have.
This role.
He might
Oh
have.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So crazy. All right, Nick, why don't you go into two of your favorite
All
things
right.
from being John Malkovich?
Here's the thing. My number one favorite thing about this movie is that Charlie Sheen was in it, but not that he was just in the movie. The role that he played in this movie, okay? Out of all the things that happened, John Malkovich, right? The one person that he confides in through this whole movie that he trusts is Charlie freaking Sheen. And of course, Charlie's coming at him with, the whole lesbian witch thing. Come on. I mean, he's just giving him gold.
Machine!
Yeah, right. He's like,
Malcatraz.
you don't know how well you got it, and don't let this girl go. She's calling you Lottie. That's crazy. He's got this. Sounds hot. It's like, perfect Charlie, perfect person. And actually, when I read about the movie, I don't think he was originally going to be in it. And John Malkovich actually, I think, asked them to put him in the movie. He's like, I think this would be a perfect role for Charlie Sheen.
so
and I
funny.
couldn't agree more.
It was.
The best decision they made in
my
the whole
word.
movie was putting Charlie Sheen in there.
That was so funny, dude.
And the other thing that I really liked about this movie, like I said, at first it was kind of tweaking me out, was the oddity of it. But then, that actually is something that I started to like, was the oddity of it, watching it the second time around. I was like, this is so quirky, so weird. I don't know what to
It
think,
definitely
but
leans into it.
but I just struggle with understanding the point of the movie. But that's what makes it great, because I don't think there is any point to it. And you can get all this going in the mind and all this crap, and I don't know. No. It's just this director has an imagination, and he let it out in this movie, and that's why I liked. The one thing I loved about it, it was just so odd. Nothing made sense.
Love it. For sure. All right, how about you, Jordan? Two of your favorite things.
Oh, so I'd say the first thing is, I think you guys kind of have already mentioned it, some of the characters, but I love, it reminds me of the Coen brothers writing, where it's just like everyone's a character and just very funny, always making me laugh. Like I said, that first half of the film, it's like solid, really funny characters, and I was laughing out loud quite a few times. Yes, the secretary is probably my favorite person. She is so funny. Charlie Sheen did make a great cameo, but
Charlie!
that secretary, I don't know why, she just makes me laugh every time, and out loud really hard. And then the second thing would just have to be, I'm obsessed with Charlie Kaufman's work, and I just love his writing. So I like all Eternal Sunshine, this, and Adaptation. It's just all kind of diving into his mind, and we get a peek at what it's like to be in somebody's subconscious. So
Not just anybody, John Malkovich.
that's right, John Malkovich. But Ty brought up a good point, though.
yeah.
Is it John Malkovich's deep subconscious, or is it the mind of Charlie Kaufman?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Somebody's
I have so
mind.
many questions, but I would say two of my favorite things. This movie is extremely quotable, and it's actually very funny. So I was pleasantly surprised at the humor, because I actually was laughing out loud at a lot of scenes. In fact, this would be a movie that I would actually like to show other people, even if they don't understand it.
They
Be like,
won't.
did you know this movie existed? I didn't.
Yeah, you show them the first 30 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's just because you get hooked, and you really are just so curious about this movie, and you're like, where does it lead to? What happens here? So
Nowhere. It leads to nowhere.
I think that's so great.
It leads to somewhere.
And then the second one is,
Does lead to somewhere.
it does lead to somewhere for 15 minutes, and I would say another one of my favorites. So the comedic humor and the quotes, and then I really enjoyed the concept of, really at its face value, it's a very strange premise, but it almost doesn't even take time to explain a lot of the things, where I don't know how I would react if I found out someone was hijacking my subconscious or my mind and actually trying to take control of my actually take control of my body and displacing my essence somewhere else while they...
I think he handled it quite well, actually.
Yeah, it's like they just kept moving on, and it was literally like John Malkovich is like, "You're inside my head," like Jason, or like I will see, or Craig, I'll
Like
see
that's
you in
gonna
court.
fix anything.
Like,
He's like, how do you know I won't see you? See me in court or something like that.
I don't see you seeing yourself through court. It was the weirdest thing. So it was so funny. This concept was great, and I loved just the whole plot line of a puppeteer that literally ends up taking possession and puppeteering someone else. I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
Well, and so puppeteering a person who puppeteers.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best.
He literally puppeteers him so he can then become a puppet.
And let's talk about when he went into that to his manager's office.
His agent done.
Don't make her wait. Don't ever make them wait again. And I won't say what he said. I love that part when he's apologizing.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Sorry about that C out there. Sorry about that C out there.
C word.
And he's sitting there. He's like, I wanna be a puppeteer.
I want to start doing puppeteering.
Poof, you're a puppeteer. I'm gonna make some calls.
Puppeteer, you're a puppeteer. No questions asked.
Just love it.
And he's like so happy with his girlfriend with Maxine.
Dude, that's where they lost me. As soon as it started going into the future, he's like a super famous, successful puppeteer in Revolution.
It's not that far into the future. 8 months. He grew
I love it.
quickly.
He's like, I don't want to seem like a copycat, but I think I should be authentic and become a puppeteer too. I'm like, what has he done to this world, dude? Like, what type of dystopian? What?
I love when he's like there. He's having the class. It reminded me of Adaptation with the screenwriter, where he's yelling at Charlie Kaufman's character Nick Cage, where he's like talking about puppeteering, and I can't remember what he does. He's like, no, you can't. It's not enough just to have your puppet do it. You need to be. You need to weep with it. And he's like got these puppets and he's like making it writhe on the ground and cry. It was so funny. Like the puppeteering made me laugh so hard. The fetching scene at the beginning where John Cusack is in the street and he has his two puppets, like they're like reminiscing of a time when they were together, and he's like,
Why he thought that would be a good idea?
Yeah, and then the guy's like, "What the heck are you doing?"
And his only audience is like some 7-year-old girl.
Yeah. And then I love when he walks into the
the
pet shop.
He
and
gets
then
back
he's
home.
like, again? Why do you keep doing
She's
this
like,
to yourself?
again.
And then his answer is, I'm a puppeteer.
I'm a puppeteer.
Oh, I love it. And she's like, not everyone can be a Strumbol. Oh, I can't remember the puppeteer's name. I'm just going to call him Strumbol. He's like, not everyone can be a Stromboli. And he's like, yeah, but I have to be or something. And then he sees on TV, he sees the one puppeteer Stromboli guy character, and he's like got this giant effing puppet, and he's just like, give me keep. He's so pissed. He's so pissed at him for this giant puppet that he was operating. I love it. It's so funny. I gotta say, dude, I have so many questions now. So we said our two favorite things. Let's get into it. I have so many questions. Why was Maxine not at all concerned about any of the ramifications or consequences?
That's what makes her so cool.
She was terrifying. She was
it.
just like, what happens if John Malkovich enters his own subconscious? And she's like, we'll see. Like she could not care less.
Yeah, she was a heartless woman.
I just thought that was so
She was.
great.
Dude, she was
She
unfazed
was
at the fact that when she
heartless.
found
Yeah.
out that she'd been tied up, and then she's like, oh, it was, what's his name under, and she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's like totally unfazed.
She's
I'm like,
totally in it
psycho.
for herself.
She didn't even
She's totally
care.
in it for herself. But
She's the most
these
selfish
two,
woman
She's
ever.
the so
yes,
selfish.
but these
I've
two
heard
are
this.
just drooling over her, and that's what's like, what is going on?
Yes.
But
I
it's the
know.
coolness
Lottie
that she's got.
and-
That's what the
and
attraction.
Yeah,
Craig.
when
That's
a
what
married
the-
couple.
Dude, when they both lean in for
both
that
are lusting
kiss,
over the
yes,
same
when they go in for that
person.
kiss at the same time, when they're sitting down there at the, they're talking,
And they
after
both, like,
dinner or
attack
whatever,
kiss
they're
her.
sitting on their couch, and they both attack kiss her, and then she slaps Craig. That was so funny, but not Lottie. Like, oh, it's so funny. And then I love when she's like, "I have no attraction to you, Craig," and then she's like, "But Lottie, I only like you when you're in John Malkovich." so weird. It's like so weird.
weird.
It's such a weird
It's so
premise.
funny.
It's so weird. So yeah, this movie gets into some weird thoughts. I mean,
Yes.
back in 1999, I don't know how they got away with a film like this. Like, you want to talk about transgressive. Nowadays, it's like, I don't know if a film like this gets made. Like, there's a lot of, like, the transgenderism, the subconscious versus the physical realm, like, all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of strange things going on in this. Like,
Yeah, but you're talking about an era too of like when American Pie was coming out. A lot of weird stuff was coming out.
that's true, right? Like,
Yeah.
pushing the envelope with stuff like this.
Late
you know?
90s did that.
You know, I will say Cameron Diaz disappeared
Yes!
in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, is that
Yes!
Cameron Diaz? And then later in the film, I'm like, that's not Cameron Diaz. And then I was like, it's
Yeah.
fetching Cameron Diaz. Like, I didn't even realize that. She, like, kept
I
disappearing.
had to use X-ray. I couldn't know.
Wait, Cameron Diaz is in this movie?
Yeah.
She's the sister. I mean, she's the wife.
the sister.
She's
wife,
Lottie. She's Lottie. The chimp lady, Cameron. The pet store
That's
owner.
Cameron Diaz. That's Cameron Diaz.
That's Cameron
20 years
Diaz,
ago.
dude.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy brown
Oh.
hair. Yeah. Crazy disheveled hair. Animal lady.
Yeah.
Cat lover.
What?
Blows your mind, right?
Cameron's your eyes. You're like, what?
Yeah. Can't believe you don't remember that. She had a
I
pretty
love it.
significant
So-
role, actually.
Yeah. But no, you almost forget. Like, I honestly thought, I was like, oh, it's Cameron Diaz. And then I was like, oh, that's not Cameron Diaz. And then I remember thinking, that's totally Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, I
dude.
thought the same thing. Because
It's so weird. I mean, like, what was her debut? Like, The Mask?
she's just not playing any of her usual roles where she's playing like kind of the hot blonde.
No, she's playing the hot mess this time.
She has a literal chimpanzee in her house.
She has more than a chimp. She's got a whole zoo up in there.
She's got the
That
whole
parrot that wakes
zoo.
him up
Bird,
every
yeah.
morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Dude, I would murder that thing so
Yeah,
quick.
I just remember seeing the dog at the end. I'm like, oh, she's got some, normal pets too. That's cool.
Right. How about that? Oh my gosh.
But I know I love that part when she comes in though into the office and after being in John Malkovich just for that first time and she somehow magically decides that she's a transsexual.
Are you nuts? I always wondered what it would feel like to have a. And now I know. Like, this was an awakening for me.
So
man.
that's great. I was not
So
expecting that. I didn't know that was happening.
I was not expecting that twist, where she literally became more craving to be inside John Malkovich than like any other character.
Oh,
you know?
that was so funny.
Oh my gosh. So
It's our baby!
I gotta
I kept it because I knew it
say,
was
kept
yours.
it.
Like,
because I knew it was your baby.
what am I listening to? What blasphemy, dude?
Dude, what? I have a question. What is meant at the very end when? Okay, so at the very end, I understood it that all those crazy people literally go inside John.
Yeah, what the
Malkovich,
heck's
or do
that
they
all
just
about? Like,
appear?
but then
Yeah,
they
they
seem
just
like they
live
just
do
split
they all
up.
end up?
Because
in
one
heaven?
of them I thought was in Charlie Sheen.
I don't even remember the people in Charlie Sheen. I remember the people appearing in John Malkovich's daughter.
No, he acted as one. When he came in, he called him one of the guys that went into the body. He used.
Well, at the very end, he said, I'd like to show you this girl. He wanted to take him into the kid growing up eventually.
Is that what it is?
Because all those old people went into John Malkovich.
Well, how did he know all the other people?
No, he didn't. So
He
all
mentioned
those other
their
people
names.
went into John Malkovich, and then John Malkovich invited him to come into the next body once it was ripe.
Right. I'm just wondering how Sheen knew all those people.
See, once it was ripe, what the fudge, man? What a weird fetching movie. Almost ripe.
Yeah, it reminded me. I honestly don't think you would have had like Get Out without this movie, because this was way similar to Get Out. The sunken place, like taking over someone's body, really dark. Like, where did John Malkovich go all those years where he literally ruined his career and became a puppeteer and lived up his whole life and his fame?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that scene where the black lady in Get Out, where she's like crying, and then she's like, "Oh, everything's okay."
Yeah, like this
And she's
part of
she's
her
like,
that's
no,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, John Malkovich like snaps out of it a few times. He's like, no, and then he like snaps back and he's like, get a hold of yourself, you worthless, overrated actor piece of shiz, or something like that. It's so crazy. Like, they like push John Malkovich so far away. So I have a question. I don't understand the ending though, because all those old people disappear into John Malkovich, but then are they lying in his subconscious, or
No,
are they
they're controlling
actually
him.
I think they're in
controlling
control.
him anymore?
Yeah.
But how of them all together?
You think they
'Cause
are?
He's acting like the old
Yeah,
guy.
Because they got in time before 12.
Right, but he acts as the as that old guy, as the not. They're all old, but the main guy, Lester.
Is it possible because he went in he was the very last one? Was it because he was the last one to go in that he had control, or is it he was the leader of the cult? Like,
I think what he said was we can share it. So I don't know.
Do they take turns? I don't know.
You know, what the fudge, man?
maybe he allows them take turns. Yeah, I could see that. Poor John Malkovich, dude. Oh my gosh, poor guy. I gotta say.
A sadistic plot.
So also
is
John
sadistic.
Cusack, where does
It's
he
great.
go? Does John Cusack end up going into Lottie's and Maxine's daughter?
That little girl? Yeah, he must have went in. So he didn't know about the 12 o'clock rule thing. He probably wanted to go back. He went in after, and now he's stuck in the little girl's head forever.
Yeah, in her subconscious.
Yeah, as a subconscious.
And I think she knows too, because she's like staring straight at him. He's look away, look away, look away. And she's like, no, I ain't looking away.
And she won't look away. I'm so disturbed.
Can't take control of her. She's stuck, and he didn't know that. And he's nuts. He went crazy.
Right. Craig Schwartz went off the deep end, man. Most people in this movie
Which
do.
I'm just like, man, I mean, he was a little weird with the whole puppets and the whole thing, you know, but
You deserve internal
he
torment.
got really weird at the end.
I know, right? That's a terrifying.
I mean, he kind of did. He was kind of, if you think about all the stuff he did, I mean, like he attacked his wife. I mean, threatened her.
locked her in a cage. What has
Tied her
become
up
of
and
my
locked her in a
life?
cage.
My wife in a cage with a monkey.
Hey, but it's okay. The monkey overcame his
The
childhood
monkey
trauma.
did, so everybody won technically, but still.
So funny, that monkey at the end where he's like, son, you have to untie your mom and dad. He couldn't do it. I literally thought I was watching Mighty Joe Young or something like that.
Yeah, George of the Jungle. I'm just waiting for Tarzan
so
to come
good.
in there or something. Like, what the fudge? Oh, man.
Well, I love when he's like, I love Maxine too. And then she's like, it's like, go and play with your puppets.
I cannot believe that that's Cameron Diaz. I'm still so shook.
Cameron Diaz, man.
Okay, because I knew
That's
I
crazy,
should have
dude.
pieced that together because I was like, that's definitely the voice of Fiona.
Yeah. See, when I heard her voice originally, it's a good thing I watched it, on Amazon. I used that X-ray, and I was like, that is Cameron Diaz. Without even looking, obviously, at the movie info, but I was suspicious.
Yeah, it took me a while too. I was like, she looks nothing like Cameron Diaz. It's crazy. It's that crazy hair
That
and
crazy hair, man.
personality.
What a strange movie, man.
It makes it so, kind of good.
Disturbing.
Good, in a way. I have it playing in the background right now, and I'm just, looking up at it, and I just
so
saw the
weird.
part where she just fell out the sky for the first time.
Okay, also,
Dude.
I kind of have a nitpick. Like, would everyone be that excited to just be inside another human body for 15 minutes?
Yeah, man, they would. They were going nuts. Look at all
Oh,
those
yeah.
weirdos.
The weirdos.
And $200
The
a
weirdos,
pop. They should have
yes.
kept that business going for as long. I mean, they shouldn't have ended that.
$200? Oh, yeah.
Look how many people were lined up. They were probably pulling in $2,000 a night. I would have kept that racket going.
Nick's like, I want a piece of that pie.
I want that, man. I just take advantage of that. Line them up, John Malkovich, you got to pay double. Because his experience is pretty crazy. So if he wants to go on that ride,
Yeah, you can say that.
yeah.
You got the once in a lifetime in your subconscious seeing just yourself. What the fudge,
Yeah,
dude?
I love that part when he was going and is like, I wonder what happens when a man crawls into his own mind or whatever she said. And we were all wondering.
Well, remember the line they give Maxine. Maxine said she's like JM or Jim Inc. or whatever,
Yeah.
like John Malkovich Inc. or whatever. It's like be all that someone else can be. It was the weirdest slogan, and I love when she calls for the radio ad and she's like, "Hey, have you been waiting to be someone else's?" And then they're like, "No. This is what you need to say." Like the guy, he was like, "Wait, I don't want this advertisement." I thought that was so funny. She's like, "No, this is what you're gonna tell people." Like she went right into it, no nonsense kind of person. Maxine is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, the manipulative, craziest character I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like when she's on the phone talking to somebody and she's like, "Yeah, the puppeteer came and hit on me." So pathetic. It was so heartless.
No,
like,
yeah, he told me he loved me. Could you think of anything more pathetic?
He told me he loved me.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
pathetic.
I'm like,
Yeah.
who are you
And then she's at
talking
the
to?
bar.
Yeah, at the bar.
I'm trying-
She's at the bar.
Yeah.
It's like, "Are you married?" And he goes, "Oh, enough about me. Tell me about yourself." like what was John Cusack doing there? That was terrible.
And then she's like, are you gay? What, you don't like my body?
It's like, "Oh, okay, I love your body." Yeah, he got her to admit it. It was so
I mean,
weird.
it's almost that, the whole movie almost revolves around her in a way.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
I mean, they do all of this because of her. And she's cool though. I mean, whatever.
it's crazy.
And it was so weird to see her in that kind of character. I mean, not that character, but what was the other movie that she was in? 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's the first time. That's like what I remember her from when I see her. I think 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, that's all I remember her from too. She's in that and Step Brother. Oh no, wait.
Is she the love interest that Steve Carell liked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dude, she's in Get Out too, apparently.
Yeah, she's the mother. She's
Oh
the
my
one that
God.
does the
Oh, yeah.
hypnotism.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's
She's
why
in some
obviously
weird
this movie
movies.
reminds you
Yeah.
because she's the manipulator, man. She's the one with the
Oh
plan.
my gosh, she's the teaspoon lady.
It's the sequel if you think about it. She literally leaves John Malkovich's office behind, and then she goes on, raising her
Maybe
kid.
the universes are connected, Ty.
Exactly, crossover universe.
We're gonna get an unbreakable crossover.
John Malkovich and Get Out. That's so funny. I love when he sits down for the interview. Dr. Lester's like, "Okay, I need to see if you're quick at filing or whatever." And he's like, "Which of these comes first?" And he goes, "This one or this one?" He's like, "That's the symbol on the left. It's not a letter, sir." He goes, "You're good. I was trying to trick you." It's so funny. Dude, Lester was a character and a half, dude. He was so weird. He was so weird.
So
like you
weird.
said, every single one in this movie does seem like it almost seems like a Coen Brothers character. Like they're almost so like everyone is acting at 110%.
Yes.
Like even the idea that they didn't change his name, John Malkovich, like bless his heart, I can't believe an actor, like I'm trying to think of where he was at his time when he did this, because I look at films that he's done now and it doesn't seem that strange.
Dude, this was I think a good move for him. This movie was a good move
for
him.
sure,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
You know, and it would have
the
been a
scene
risk,
where-
dude. It would have been kind of a
Oh,
risk, I
yeah.
think, going
Oh
in.
my
Because if this movie
gosh.
sucked, probably would have ruined him, but it didn't.
Oh, absolutely.
It was
Yeah,
a
Your
good
name
absolutely.
all over it. Just get
Yeah.
more.
all over. I mean,
Yeah.
it literally is like the title, being John Malkovich. You're the poster. You're everything of it. You're the concept of this movie. It's so weird, but oh my gosh, this is just so crazy. So let's get into quotes. You guys have any quotes from this movie? There's a great one where she's like, Craig and Lottie are getting at it. He's like, "You were with him, weren't you?" When she comes home, she's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "And he was with her." And he goes, "We love her, Craig. We? John and me. John and
What about
me? I thought that
me?
was so funny. I know. It's so funny. It's so random. It's so weird.
Dude, John Travolta. John Travolta. John
Cusack.
Cusack, man. I loved his character. So weird. That hair, that gross hair.
Yeah.
And then when he turns
Yes.
into...
Malkovich, his hair grows out.
yeah, he grows... he grows out his hair. And I like how he kind of changes into his persona. Like, he stops being John Malkovich. It's kind of fun.
Do you know what metaphysical can of worms this portal is? No. I love it. It's so funny. Like, this movie's so bonkers.
Okay,
It's crazy.
and the other thing that I'd never understood, I don't know if you guys heard it, but Lottie says it. She says, like, just out of nowhere, she's like, I was like, what the fuck?
Well, she wants to be a boy.
She wants to be a boy. She always wanted to
wants
know
to
what it was
be a
like to have
boy.
it, and now she knows. So she was John Malkovich for a day, or 15 minutes anyway.
I was like, talk about the most out of place, just dialogue I'd ever heard. I was like,
I love when he finally explains to her, he's like, "There's a tiny door in my office, Maxine. It's a portal, and it takes you inside John Malkovich. You see the world through John Malkovich's eyes. And then after 15 minutes, you're spit out in a ditch on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike." And he goes, "Sounds great. Who the F is John Malkovich?" And he says, "Oh, he's an actor. He's one of the great American actors of the 20th century."
Name
And
a
she's
film
like,
he's in.
Yeah, what's he been in? Lots of things. He was a jewel thief, for example, and he's very well respected. Anyway, the point is, it's a very odd thing. It's supernatural. For
Well,
lack
and then
of a better
Ty, she
word.
repeats
So-
that because that first was in the cab ride. He said that,
Yes,
and then
they
he
keep
he
passing
repeated it, and then she repeated it back to him. Said,
Yeah,
"I really liked you in that
jewel,
Jewel Thief movie."
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know, if I ever saw him in person, I kind of would want to say that. Oh, you're really good as that jewel thief.
Yeah.
And it was so weird when he goes in with the board of wood. He like takes a plank of wood with him, and he goes, "Where did the plank of wood go? Did it like stay inside his mind?" He ends up coming out of
Oh,
it at the
yeah.
end, which was super weird.
That's
so
what I
he literally
wondered.
took physical things inside his brain. It's so weird. It's like, what does it mean? Like he was hijacking him, and then eventually, because he was a puppeteer, he was able to manipulate and actually say things for him, and then control his body. It's just so crazy. This movie, Jordan. So I got super Possessor vibes. Nick or Cameron, have you guys seen The Possessor?
No.
It's directed by David Cronenberg's son. I can't remember his name. Something Cronenberg.
Brandon
Cronenberg. And he did a movie where it's literally like an assassin, but you can like transfer your consciousness into some being, and they would like, this lady would use conduits or just, surrogates to go assassinate someone and then leave the body, and then this innocent person that had no recollection of what happened would then take the fall. And it kind of reminded me of that. That's like, it's like the dark espionage version of this film, but this is kind of it was quirky and fun at first, but then it got like super dark and disturbing where he literally like took possession of his body, and like when he was dancing around the bedroom and like was manipulating, I was like, this is like the saddest thing. Like, it's humiliating.
It's not just playing with dolls. She's like, yes, my darling, it's playing with humans. I'm like, what the F?
Yeah, dude, that second half was dark. Like, it got dark.
Oh my gosh, dude. So crazy. Oh, it's so crazy. Any other quotes you guys wanted to throw out there? I mean, it's so funny. I love, what does he say? He tells him, he's like, because I quoted it before, but I wasn't saying it right, but he's just like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be weeping. How could you be weeping if you're not weeping yourself? And he takes the puppet. I just thought that was so funny when he's teaching the class, and like he's taking this puppetry like to a whole nother level. It's so funny. I love that.
Dude, and when he's talking to, he's like, Flores, get Guinness on the phone. And she's like, right away, Dr. Lester, Genghis Khan Capone. Her understanding of everything just made oh my gosh.
See, maybe you really do like this movie, Cameron, and you just don't, know.
The first half I loved. Then after that, you lost me. As soon as you started saying, yes, we're playing with humans, I was like, what the fuck?
I honestly thought this movie was literally like going to be like about capitalism and stuff. Like it was like, oh, how terrible it is to work at a job. It's a building that's too small where you're cramped in a cubicle. But like it had a little bit of that, like where they literally make the on the nose joke where they're like low overhead costs because the floor is in between two. But it deals more with like the subconscious and less about, like work. Like I was surprised at how that kind of threw me for a loop, because I was like, oh, I kind of get like the subtleties of like this work environment, this terrible place that they're in, this office romance. But then it's like, it totally takes a hard turn where it's like, what is it to be a living person? And what does it mean to have a subconscious? And do you have the right to your own mind if people have access to it?
It reminded me of like horror cruxes too, a little bit.
Well, when he's going through the filing cabinets with those fingers, did it remind you of like Three Stooges speeding up? It kind of looked like it was fast forwarding time. It was like,
yeah, it was insane. Like no one files that fast.
Yeah.
He's got puppeteer hands, Ty.
Yeah, I'm like, does having puppeteer hands make you a fast filer? Like, is there any science to back this up? What the fudge?
Maybe. He's got a lot of things he's got to do with those little puppets,
I guess.
It's true.
A lot of movements. He's working out those finger muscles. Yeah, he's just going crazy.
Shredded.
He's shredding, yeah. So
funny.
I love what he's describing to her. She's like, you play with puppets, and she's like, check please, and she like leaves him, and then he's like, but it's like being in somebody else's skin, and she's like, yikes.
Yeah. She was just so ultra cool in that movie,
For sure, too cool versus
Which
cool.
is the exact opposite of her role in 40-Year-Old Virgin. She wasn't cool in that.
Yeah, although she did stand up for herself and said, I don't think I feel comfortable dating a guy who owns a bunch of action figures. Like, what is it? Are you some serial killer?
It could point to that. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It could lead to that too. So, guys, do you guys recommend being John Malkovich?
to your mom and dad, yes.
Yes.
Unedited, unbit angel.
No.
Why not? It's rated PG-13, isn't it?
No.
No, not at all. This
No?
movie is a hard R.
Yeah.
So
Well, don't tell
I
them
would
that.
say-
Just tell them that there's two versions. And then when they watch it,
gotta
you'd be
say,
like, you watched the wrong one.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend
Sorry.
this movie to just about everybody. If you want a mind meld and you want to have some fun, this is great fun.
I mean, if you like Charlie Kaufman, once again, like...
Yeah, if you like Charlie Sheen, watch this movie.
even if you like Charlie Sheen,
Because his 2 minutes in there is worth the whole experience. I don't care what Cameron says.
Malcatraz, Matt Sheen.
I would recommend it to, I would definitely recommend like 100% the first 30 minutes. The characters are so funny.
So funny.
It's kind of like a Journey to the West. It's like, if you love the beginning and you're down to experience the rest of the ride, I mean, you do you, but I only recommend the beginning. But if you're enjoying the ride that much, you might as well stick it out to see Charlie Sheen.
You know what?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just wondering if this movie would have been like the following, as in only an hour and 5 minutes long, and they squeezed all that funny into that time period, I think this movie would have been 3 times better.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is surprising. Again, you find out the movie is an hour and 53 minutes long. Again, Charlie Kaufman has these longer run times that I would
Yeah.
argue. But again, it's like,
It's a lot of
you know,
weirdness just in a long span of time. But
yeah. Because as it drudges on, you're like, oh.
Well, it's like you said, Ty. It almost sets
this
it up
one-
to be a different film at the beginning, and then
Yes.
it takes
Yeah.
a
Yes.
huge turn.
Yes, I would say, and I enjoyed it because at the very end, it's like a train wreck. You can't look away. When he's possessing his body and going down that rabbit hole, I'm like, how does this end? Because it was funny to see John Cusack get everything he wanted, and it was like so pathetic. Like, but using John Malkovich as a conduit, it made it all a reality. And you're like, this is all just so stupid. It's all puppeteering.
oh, there's that board, guys. Remember we were talking about the board? The board does not get stuck. It comes out when he gets out at the end of the movie. I'm watching it right now. He fell out of the sky. He's got the board in his hand.
Right, yeah. So he ends up, because he ends up leaving it there the first time, but then
Does
goes
he?
back in
Yeah.
and takes it out. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's like, how did he
Yeah, it's interesting.
procure it again? Like, it's weird. Like, why did he leave it in there? But again, is it just to show?
I wonder what else is in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what else can you take with you in there? You know, like, what does it do? Does it
Your little
occupy any
hiding
physical
spot.
space?
Take dead bodies in there.
Ooh.
I thought it was really clever that, you know, again, because I'm curious to know if the cult leaders, they could control John Malkovich. I'm guessing you said they could.
Not cult leaders. They're just old people that want to live forever.
I like that you're calling them a cult.
They are 100% a cult.
No, they just want to live forever.
They are a cult. They literally have a shrine dedicated to John Malkovich.
Well, that's just to
In
watch
his
his
own-
progress, you know, just to make sure.
To watch the progress of a human being and then go into his
That they're gonna
mind.
overtake
and
soon.
They use the word ripe with human beings. I'm pretty sure that classifies you as a fetching cult. If any other human being calls me ripe,
He's ripe for the
I'm
taking.
like, yeah, you lost me.
And vessel.
Yeah.
He was just a
You're a
vessel.
ripe
He was the
vessel.
vessel.
Ripe
Right,
vessel.
that's it's so funny. Well, yeah, I recommend this movie. This movie's fun. It's a good time. I liked it. It was weird. It's a fantasy comedy drama, if that makes any sense, which is so weird. And it's got to be a mind too thing. Like it's a look into subconscious and what does it mean to be living and what does it mean to not be living. So anyway, sometimes it'd just be easier if we were all just chimpanzees and we didn't have subconscious, you know.
I don't
We
know.
didn't feel any pain. We could all just be happy chimps.
I don't feel any
Sad
pain
chimps
anyway.
that had to learn to untie knots because then you
See,
become
he
the
did have a
hero
lot
of
of
your
pain.
story.
I think his situation was worse.
Yeah, doesn't that
That's
prove
true.
that
The
The
poor
monkey would-
monkey.
monkeys do feel pain? So her whole entire
Yeah.
point was invalid.
Yeah, it was probably BS.
Craig's then was wrong, so Craig was wrong the
Yeah,
whole
the heck,
time.
Cameron Diaz. Monkeys feel pain too.
Yeah, well, no, it's funny because she kept saying, she goes, he's going through some metaphysical trauma or whatever she kept saying about his
Yeah.
monkey.
Stomach
So
issues
she's like,
or whatever.
she's
I'm like,
stomach
Yeah.
issues,
It
ulcer
ulcer
from
from the
this
trauma,
recent-
yeah.
from the
Stress,
trauma, yeah.
yeah.
So like she was like,
We're
in
getting
tune
him
with all that stuff.
psychotherapy, and she whispered it too. Psychotherapy. Like, you know,
This movie is a laugh. It's a hoot. 2 hoots and a half, dude. I totally recommend it. All right, guys. We end every podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Nick, why don't you start us off? Any movies that you've seen lately?
Yeah, so I watched a movie that was very, very highly recommended by Jordan. Very highly recommended. And it's an older movie. Not really older. It was from like probably 10 years ago. Jennifer's Body, okay?
I never recommended
Yes,
that
you
one.
did.
No, I didn't.
Okay, it's true. He did not recommend it. I watched it on my own. just
But you
because I
did
thought
see
it was
Wrath
good.
of Man.
good?
I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, so Wrath of Man that was
That was the one that
that
Jordan
was
kept
great.
recommending.
Yeah, he did
It's
recommend it. That was a good one.
Me and Nick went and saw it at the theaters. We held hands. It was
We did
lovely.
not hold hands, and I
Oh,
got us separate
I-
seats.
I must
so
be
that was
remembering.
perfect.
How dirty
I must
was
be
the theater,
remembering
Nick?
it wrong then.
The theater was actually pretty clean. I was almost
It's pretty
nervous.
clean.
We almost couldn't have gone because I would tell you this really funny story real quick. So I was booking the tickets, and then I had a phone call, so I had to take the phone call. So then somehow the app got closed out, and I was going in there, dude, and they had limited seats, so there was like no seats. I had these two perfect. We were in a good section. We had perfect seats right in there, and I go back in there, and those seats were taken. I'm like, dang it, someone got the seats. All there was left was like the couple seats that you like. Big, couple. I'm like, we're not a couple, so I can't be sitting in a couple seat. I don't know what to do. So I texted
I
your
told Nick
brother,
I
and
didn't
I'm like, listen, bro, I don't know what we're gonna do here, man. We either gotta sit as a couple, or that's it. That's our only option. And or sit way in the front. I think there was a couple seats. Out of nowhere, the seats open up. You know why they were closed? Because when I went through the first time, I reserved the seats, and you give me 10 minutes to reserve the seats for. So I had to wait till the 10 minutes was up in the background in order for me to get those seats back. So no one could have gotten them. I had them the whole time. So
Thankfully, I didn't text Nick right away because I did see that he texted me, and then it resolved itself because he goes, "Oh, never mind." He's
Yes.
like, I was the one that reserved the seats. I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "I reserved the tickets." Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. We'll take one for the team. We'll just sit as a couple on the love seat. But oh, too funny. Yeah. So Wrath of Man. It was fun. It was fun to go to movies
are
again
you
with
sure
Nick.
you didn't recommend Jennifer's Body? I swear.
No, I never did. Gabe recommended that movie. He loved that movie.
I heard it's good. Is it good? What do you think, Nick?
We'll leave it at that. I don't.
It's not good at all. So
I
so do
mean,
you
it was
like-
kind of whatever. You know, it was kind of good.
Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. Nick, any movies that you're looking forward to seeing?
Any recommendations? I get my movie recommendations from you guys. You know, I don't. You know,
Yeah.
I don't do my own research.
I guess I'm excited to see A Quiet Place 2. I want to go
I
see
just
that
saw
one.
an ad pop up for that on IMDb.
Yep. I do want to see. I want to see A Quiet Place 2. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I'll see that this week.
Where?
I'll probably see it at the theater or something like that. You know,
you going?
Marcus Point. Where?
Point?
When?
Yeah.
In Marcus Point. Yeah, actually, Mom is here in town today, so she's gonna be watching my
Oh, I thought
kids.
she was gonna come with us. I was like, oh my, take your mom.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she'd love to go see
Go
it.
see
No,
A Quiet
she
Place
wouldn't.
2? Dude, you guys are so hype. You and Jordan are both
She was
like,
with us and she wouldn't see it,
You
Ty.
and Jordan are both
She didn't
"Oh,
like the
she
first
might
one?
like it. I'm like, you guys forgot what Mom is like.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You guys are so desensitized.
I wouldn't know.
to it.
I will make the movie. I will make the movie fun for her. I'll sit right next to her. I'll tell Sister Mikkel, let's go see that movie if you're in town. She's not. You know what? By the time she listens to this, it's gonna be like a month later. So anyway, next time you're in town,
For sure.
we'll get you to take a movie.
For sure. Nick, do you have a plug you want to give us?
As always, guys, Auxit, what's up? We got you. Just download the app on the App Store. Again, AUXXIT. Guys, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be cool. It's got a little work to do. You know, it's kind of got a whole 90s look going on right now, but it's pretty cool. So we're just working on developing that, and it's going to be our main way to get sneakers out to the coolest of people. That means you too, Jordan. We're going to swag you out. And you too, Ty. And you too, Cameron, but you're already swag. So, I mean, a good pair of shoes will just add to
Appreciate it.
that. You know, you got Dad Bod over here and you got Mountain Man. So, you know, not much we can do.
That's true, dude. Well, Nick, thanks. It's always a pleasure having you on the pod. Guys, leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com.
Check us out on Spotify and Patreon.
Check us out on Spotify and Patreon. Leave us a review, 5 stars. Like and share a comment. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. No, not Facebook, but or Twitter. What am I saying?
We're on
YouTube.
Facebook. We're on Instagram.
Oh, we are on
We're
Facebook.
on Twitter.
Oh, I lied. Yeah, we're on all those
We're
sites then.
everywhere.
Yeah, like us on all the platforms. Go cross-platform, guys, and you can get your little fix of futuromovies@gmail.com.
What's the, did that one movie move up in place, Jordan? Which one was that?
Oh
That
yeah,
was
Wrong
movie?
Turns on
Wrong
3,
Turn.
dude. It's gonna move its
Three.
way up to 2 soon.
Oh boy.
That's so funny, dude. Who knew?
Top 3.
What are the reviews saying? They loving it?
I mean, yeah, it's got likes. People stop commenting because Ty makes fun of them.
Yeah, the one comment we got, it was a recommendation for a movie, and we did it, and I was like, wow, it's a sadistic movie. I didn't mean to insult the person, but either
You
way.
said you're a sick sadistic person,
liking
and so
Who?
now,
For which one?
so she unsubscribed and deleted her comment.
Did she?
Yeah.
Wait, is this that chick that recommended?
I saw the devil.
Yep.
I can't believe you said that about one of your fans.
Yeah, Ty.
That's poor judgment. And that was and you know what? That was a great movie. She's not sick. You liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ty.
I know, honestly.
We all liked that movie. Come on.
Some people can't take a joke, I guess, but I don't really care. Like, if I offended someone, yeah,
You probably
I guess I'm
didn't.
sorry,
it
but I'm
didn't
not
probably
really
sound,
sorry.
Did you type it? You didn't sound. You probably didn't put like LOL after it. You know.
No, I didn't say LOL.
Yeah. So that's not serious. She thought you were serious. You gotta put the LOL or a smiley
Some
face
people
or
just
something.
don't know Ty's humor, and
Yeah, that's all right. Like I said, these guys that are on the podcast with me, they know my humor. They've been around long enough. But honestly, if I offended someone with my first comment, it wouldn't be the first time and it won't be the last. So
Well, I mean,
there.
but you called out her name, so she was probably nervous people were going to, like, come after her or something,
Did
you
you
know?
call her? No, she wouldn't
Probably.
be nervous about that.
I would. I don't know.
Listens to this, a bunch of Mormons. What are we gonna do? We're gonna play them in
Because you worry
pitchforks?
about literally everything. You're like the guy from Fetching Adaptation.
Nick, you
Gosh,
don't even
Jordan.
say your last name on the podcast. You're one to talk. You
Yeah,
prick.
yeah, Nick, you don't even like your last name on the
You don't even
podcast.
do your last name on the podcast.
Well, it's because I say sometimes. You know? I'm not worried about them getting me. I'm just worried about them, saying something, mean in the comments or something. Or like on my Facebook.
I'm
or
past
something.
feeling, dude. The internet belongs to the depraved, okay?
You Mormons
so,
can
and
be
if I'm
mean,
posting
man.
comments,
You guys say some mean stuff like, you're not going to go to heaven. That's like the ultimate slap in the
Mormons?
face. Okay.
you Mormons, Nick, you're a Mormon, dude.
But I'm a nice one. I was referring to the mean ones specifically.
Hey, we love you, listeners. Leave us a review. If I insult you, it's only because I love you, and I'm so grateful that you comment. So
And if I
there's
insult
that.
you, because that's
Let
just
that
what I
be
do.
okay.
But I do it in a nice way, and I do it without you really knowing.
You insult nicely and subtly. Thanks,
Yeah.
Nick. So I don't know when you're making fun of me and when you're actually being a friend.
Like, I insult Jordan all the time, but he doesn't realize that. I'm just kidding, Jordan. I love you. You know this.
We love you, man. We love you, Jordan. We all love you. All right, guys. This is Futro Hidden Movie Jim signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Malkovich.
Malkovich?
Malkovich.